Donald Trump is panicking as Iran just launched retaliatory strikes against Israel, hitting Israel very hard. Also, Iran hit Iraq in areas where there are United States military interests there. Earlier in the day, Israel targeted Daya in Beirut. Iran had previously said, if you attack Beirut again, we would respond by attacking Israel and other American military interests in the area. The IDF earlier today announced its strikes in Daya. You can see right here the Israeli bombing taking place in southern Lebanon in Daya. In Beirut, Iran responds right away. The IRGC announced that it was going to execute Operation True Promise 5 against Israel. The Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khomeini authorized strikes, and those strikes took place with multiple waves of ballistic missiles, wave after wave, hitting Israel. Now, the IDF in Israel claimed that none of these strikes were successful. However, we have visual confirmation that some of the ballistic missiles did indeed strike Israel. You can see right here the strikes for yourself, visual confirmation of the strikes taking place that you can see for yourself. Donald Trump then rushed and called state regime media, which calls itself Fox, and Barack Ravid, and Donald Trump said, we were very close to a deal. There was going to be a deal on Monday or Tuesday, the latest, and now Israel did this. I got to call Netanyahu, and I got to tell him, you got to stop, Bibi. You got to stop. We were about to do the deal on Monday, and now they're doing this, and now they're attacking Beirut. I'm very unhappy about this, he claimed. Here, let me show you what he did when he called Fox. He called Trey Yingst. Here's how Trey Yingst describes what went down. Let's play it.
Iran has launched at least 4 waves of missiles at Israel in response to those IDF strikes against the Lebanese capital of Beirut earlier today. I just got off the phone with President Trump, who is following the developing situation across the region. He told me what I would suggest to Iran: you've shot your missiles, that's enough. Get back to the table and make a deal. The president once again calling for a negotiated settlement. He also spoke about the ongoing negotiations with Iran, saying we are very close. I would say an agreement would be signed on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of this coming week. And now this takes place. And so the president will get briefed on what is happening right now, this ongoing Iranian ballistic missile attack against Israel. But I asked him about those initial IDF strikes that took place earlier today. He told me they were not coordinated with the United States, and I asked him for reaction to the Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in Beirut, and President Trump said, I'm not happy about it. Now, more broadly, he said that the ongoing Iranian missile fire toward Israel at this moment certainly is not going to help the negotiations. But again, he is calling on the Iranians to stop firing these missiles and get back to the negotiating table to ultimately reach a settlement. The president talked about the power of the U.S. military and also the power of the ongoing U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports.
Then Donald Trump rushed and called Barack Ravid from Axios, who I've described as kind of Donald Trump's personal stenographer or PR person. Barack Ravid then posted the following: Trump tells me I'm going to call Netanyahu right now and tell him not to strike back. More quotes from my phone call with Trump. This is what Barack Ravid says. He said that Trump said the Iranian strikes didn't hurt anybody. Hopefully Israel's not going to retaliate if Bibi strikes them back. It's just going to keep going like the last 47 years or the last 3,000 years. We are very close to a final deal with Iran. It is going to be a good deal. I don't want to blow it up because of what's happening now. I'm going to call Bibi right now and tell him not to retaliate. Each of them had their fun. Israel had its strike and Iran had its strike. We don't need another one. Bibi and Iran had their fun. That's how Donald Trump is describing Israel striking Lebanon, striking Beirut after Iran said that would be a red line, that if you cross, we would have to strike back against Israel. Now, you have all of these Israeli officials saying, we need to destroy Iran. We're ready to blow up Tehran. And they were waiting on Donald Trump's green light. Donald Trump knows that he's blowing up the U.S. economy and has the United States stuck in a quagmire on behalf of Netanyahu. And so you see Donald Trump right there, apparently at least announcing publicly that he's not allowing Netanyahu to strike Tehran right now. We're also seeing these scenes right here of Iranians celebrating missile strikes targeting Israel. You can see this right here. Let's play it. The IRGC also released this footage of its latest missile launch against Israel. You can see these strikes for yourself. Let's play it. In Lebanon, they were also celebrating these strikes. We have video of the celebration taking place in Lebanon. Let me show you what that looked like. Also, we are now getting word that an MQ-9 Reaper belonging to the United States was successfully shot down over Iraq, whether that was by Iran directly or an Iranian militia group in Iraq. Yet another MQ-9 Reaper. We've been covering here dozens and dozens and dozens of MQ-9 Reapers have been shot down. Folks, we could just show the B-roll right here of what this MQ-9 Reaper, what it looks like now that it's been shot down in eastern Iraq. You can see right there. We have an image posted online showing the nameplate for a U.S. military part. The part number is a wingtip assembly for a U.S. Air Force MQ-9 Reaper intelligence surveillance drone, reconnaissance drone. So that's why we know it's an MQ-9 Reaper. Caitlin Dornbos over at New York Post. Here's what she just posted. I just called President Trump. He responded to Iran's missile launch as he responds to Iran's missile launch on Israel. He said he couldn't talk now, but added, quote, "Things are going very well. Our brief conversation came after Axios reported that he was going to ask Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu not to strike back. Iran has sent a message to Israel saying it's finished its attacks and will not strike again if Israel does not respond." Iran also noted that it holds the U.S. directly responsible for the consequences of Israel violating the ceasefire and any escalation in the region. Iran warns that any further action by Israel against Lebanon or Iran will be met with crushing and comprehensive response from its armed forces. And Iran says the April 10th Lebanon ceasefire was an integral part of its broader ceasefire understanding, and that Israel has repeatedly violated, and its morning attacks on Daya was just too much. And so Iran had to retaliate, and you saw its retaliation there. And Iran says it holds the U.S. directly responsible. It should also be noted that Netanyahu struck Daya in Beirut. At the same time, a Pakistani top diplomat was in Iran. Pakistan Interior Minister Moshe Naqvi delivered a special letter from Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir and Prime Minister Sharif to Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Khomeini during talks in Iran in order to try to facilitate mediated discussion, settlement, resolution, a peace deal. So while you had one of Pakistan's top diplomats meeting with Foreign Minister Araghchi, Iran's top diplomat, you can see right there, that's when Israel under Netanyahu said, okay, we're going to attack Daya in Beirut, knowing that the reaction was going to be Iran would have to retaliate against Israel. What Israel was hoping for was that it would be able to draw Trump into strikes against Tehran, at least as of the recording of this video. That has not taken place yet, but we are seeing Ben Gvir, Israel's national security minister, and of course Netanyahu and others basically saying we need to destroy Tehran, we need to respond, we can't do this containment anymore, why are we being held back right there? And so you have Trump now trapped, knowing that Iran is able to, at a moment's notice, unleash hell and fury at the United States economy. And we are running dangerously low on the global oil reserves right now. And so that's one of the dynamics at play. A statement from the Resistance Committee, which refers to Iran's proxies in the region, and the Resistance Committee in Palestine just wrote, "We appreciate Iran's response to the Zionist regime in retaliation for targeting Beirut. Iran's commendable response confirms that Iran is creating new equations. New equations refers to the new security architecture in the region, and Iran asserting itself as not just a major regional power, but a global power. A senior Iranian official also told their Islamic Republic of Iran broadcasting channel, "We keep saying that the ceasefire must include all fronts in the region, especially Lebanon, and this is a condition we will not give up on." Foreign Minister Aragchi posted the Iranian flag side by side with the Lebanese flag, and the foreign minister spokesperson writes, "Surely God will help those who aid him, for God is mighty and unconquerable." More from the Iranian embassy. Iran's embassy in South Africa put out this message: "Tonight's operation was a warning. Do not repeat your acts of aggression. Victory is only from God, the mighty and the wise." Senior Iranian official Mohsen Razi, who's the top aide to Ayatollah Khomeini, writes, "The Islamic Republic of Iran had repeatedly declared that it would not tolerate violations of the ceasefire or aggression against Lebanon. Tonight, the aggressors received their response. This response is a warning for them to cease their villainy. Every new action will be met with a more crushing response and a heavier cost." IRGC Aerospace Force Commander Mousavi says, "The promise fulfilled." Iran's Supreme Leader Khomeini writes, "The shaky Zionist regime's breath has run out," right there. Iranian official Mohammad Makhbar says, "The enemy set the negotiating table ablaze for the third time by bombing Lebanon during the mediator's presence in Iran." That refers to the Pakistan Interior Minister was in Iran. Shouting its repeated violations of ceasefire across all fronts, "We speak to the oath breakers in the language of power. The axis of resistance is a unified body, and they will certainly pay a heavy and painful price for the aggression on the battlefield." Iran's parliament leader, MB Ghalibaf, says they are neither committed to a ceasefire nor believe in dialogue, and by demonstrating through naval blockade and violation of agreements regarding Lebanon that they only stand the language of power. The naval blockade against the Iranian nation and America's green light today to the Zionist regime turn American and regime bases and assets in the region into legitimate targets. The hand of our armed forces is open as always. That's your latest developments. If Israel does launch an attack on Tehran, we will keep you posted. Israeli officials, after saying we need to attack in response to Iran's retaliation to try to draw U.S., a lot of Israeli officials are now basically saying, we're going to do it. We're just waiting for the right moment. We're just got to convince Trump to let us do it. That's the dynamic playing out right now there. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.